Let's join the 8 team's Dee Jackson, who's standing by with his latest invention.
Well, Tiffany, this is actually something we like to call the CBS 8 team time machine. Now, it was a rough season in 1982 for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Going into the Iron Bowl, the Tide had already lost 3 games, but they hadn't fallen to Auburn since Nixon was in the White House in 1972. But through the use of the time machine, we'll be able to go back through time to just see how Auburn was able to steal Alabama's mojo. I bid you adieu. 1982 was a year of resurrection for the Auburn Tigers. Coach Pat Dye was in his 2nd year on the Plains and eager for a rematch with the unquestionable king of college football, Paul Bear Bryant, who in the previous year became college football's all-time winningest coach, and that win just happened to come against the Auburn Tigers. 9 straight seasons of Crimson dominance, but going into game week, there was a new feeling of confidence on the practice field, and that year would prove to be the season that Auburn would turn the tide in the series.
Well, I felt like we were going to win. I told our trainer on Wednesday, or Thursday, I'm not sure. It seemed like it was Wednesday, after practice Wednesday. I went in and told him I'd give him $20 or $30, whatever it was. I said, go buy us a couple of boxes of cigars. I said, we're going to win Saturday. And it's just one of those gut feelings that you have as a coach. I knew that our kids I knew they were ready to win a big football game, and I thought we were good enough to win.
It was filled with gritty play on both sides of the ball. Bama would strike first, setting the tone. But the game wouldn't be without controversy. After going back and forth, Bama All-American Jeremiah Castile made what he thought was one of the biggest plays of his college career.
Down there probably a minute or so to go in the game, and had a chance to make a play on a slant route on Chris Woods, and made an interception that would have sealed the game for us, but actually the flag was thrown and they called pass interference. And, you know, to this day, 20 years later, people still ask me about that play.
It was for sure he intercepted the ball. There was no pass interference. I'll say that till the day I die, because I really believe that.
But perhaps the most memorable moment from that Iron Bowl came in the north end zone on the 1-yard line, in a play forever known as Bo over the top.
If I'm not mistaken, that was probably the first time that we used that play. In '82 was when I went over to the top in the game, and it worked out great. The outcome was super, so you couldn't ask for anything more than that.
Auburn, who hadn't beaten Alabama in a decade, finally tasted the sweet victory, winning 23-22 in Pat Dye's crowning moment.
Please let us be humble in victory and proud. Most of all, we thank you for being at Auburn. What I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you, the ones that want to, I'm going to go back out there and thank our people. I knew what it meant to our fans to win. You know, it wasn't a personal thing between Coach Bryant and myself. This was an Auburn thing. And winning that football game in Birmingham and breaking the drought was a big factor in, like I said, in our run in the 80s.
The most memorable part of that game that I'll always remember is finding my mother in that massive wall of people and having her to come down to the fence and giving her a hug and just crying because I was happy that I was experiencing something that a lot of people haven't experienced in 10 years.
The 1982 Iron Bowl would be one of the final gridiron battles for the great Bear Bryant. And just 5 weeks after retiring, the Bear was gone. But Auburn proved on that final weekend of November that they were back, winning 6 out of 12 with Pat Dye at the helm, establishing Alabama-Auburn as one of the best rivalries in the SEC.